So there's a crazy theory about the new Hawkeye Disney Plus show.
Dude, that show is gonna be so good.
So in the trailer, we see that Hawkeye has a hearing aid, and in the comics, he loses his hearing over time. But what if I told you that in the show, there's a different reason?
What's the reason?
So remember at the end of Black Widow where we see Val's talking to Yelena Belova and basically lying to her, telling her that Clint Barton's the one that killed Natasha.
Yeah.
So this is where the theory comes in. What if Yelena Belova actually believes Val, and she goes out to get revenge on Clint and beats him up really bad because he doesn't want to fight her back because he feels bad for Natasha's death and he feels responsible for it. But in the process of getting beat up really bad by Yelena, he ends up losing his hearing.
That would make sense because Yelena doesn't really know how Natasha died.
Right. Also in the trailer, there's a new character named Echo where she could like mimic any of her enemies' fighting styles. And she's also deaf, so it makes sense why she's in the show because Clint is losing his hearing. And now she can help Clint be able to learn how to fight without being able to hear.
Dude, Disney can take all my money. This show's gonna be so good.
Did you know that having bad handwriting is actually a good thing?
Well, I guess I'm lucky. I have terrible handwriting.
So you know like in school, like how teachers are always saying like you have to have good handwriting. If you don't, you're gonna fail in life. But what if I told you that they're the ones that are wrong?
Dude, my teachers used to hate me because of my handwriting.
So recently, a lot of research has been done on people's handwriting, and they found that people with bad handwriting could actually be a genius. So if you look at Elon Musk, who created Tesla and SpaceX, and Gary Vee, they're all geniuses, right? But the one thing they have in common is that they kind of have sloppy handwriting. And Kanye West is one of the most creative artists there is, but he's known for having really bad handwriting where people can't even read his writing. Basically, it's that their brain is really gifted and thinks faster than they can write. So it's like their brain is going so fast that their hand can't even catch up with their brain. And that's why it's so messy.
Dude, I always thought the people with the neatest handwriting were always the smartest. Crazy Big Hero 6 theory.
All right, let's hear it.
So we all know Hero, and he's like a kid genius that builds super cool inventions.
Right.
But it makes you wonder, what else has he created besides what's just in the movie? But there's a theory that he built and designed Eve from WALL-E, and he gave his work to the company by and large.
Wait, how?
So if you look at what's on Hero's desk, there's something that looks exactly like Eve's head, showing that Hero created and programmed Eve and sold her to by and large to use in the future, knowing that the Earth will need her one day.
That's so crazy. I never even noticed that.
And Big Hero 6 takes place in 2032, and WALL-E takes place in 2805. So it only makes sense since Hero's one of the greatest inventors ever. He created a bunch of different robots with many different purposes, just like Tony Stark did.
It actually makes sense because we never knew who designed Eve. Have you heard of the Doctor Strange theory?
No.
So in the most recent episode of What If, we see an evil Doctor Strange where he seeks dark magic and he wants to bring back the love of his life, Christine.
Yeah, it was really weird to see how evil he was. He was using the same exact powers that Agatha used on Wanda.
Yeah, at the end of the episode, we see him stuck in like a void force field because he literally destroyed the world that he was in. But we know that he's not dead because he's in future What If episodes.
Oh, you think the Watcher will let him out?
Maybe. So the creator of the show What If, AC Bradley, actually said that all the What If episodes are connected to all the MCU movies. So this is where the theory comes in. There's a theory that the evil Doctor Strange is going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Wait, what?
So in Spider-Man No Way Home, we see Doctor Strange open up the multiverse. But that will possibly allow the evil Doctor Strange to come into the main MCU timeline. And Christine is still alive in the main MCU timeline. So evil Doctor Strange will probably want to come to the main MCU timeline to find Christine again and live with her.
Wait, that makes so much sense. Ever wondered what happened to Mufasa after he died?
Yeah, you really never know what happens to the body.
So we all know Scar pushed Mufasa off of a cliff into a stampede and died, but we don't know where the body went after.
I do know some people say that the hyenas actually ate Mufasa.
Yeah, so I read this article and there's a theory that Scar and the hyenas ate Mufasa together.
Wait, Scar ate Mufasa?
Yeah, so if you look at the scene where Zazu's talking to Scar in the cave, Scar's playing with a skull that looks exactly like a lion's skull. But there was only 2 grown lions at the time, Scar and Mufasa, showing that Scar and the hyenas probably ate Mufasa. And after eating Mufasa, assuming that's the only lion the hyenas ever eaten, they ended up liking lion meat. So in the end, they ended up ganging up on Scar and eating him too.
I mean, it makes sense because even on National Geographic, you see hyenas eating lions. I found a crazy Spider-Man theory that may confirm that Andrew Garfield's in the movie.
What?
So early this year, Marvel released a promo video with Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jacob Batalon, where they walk by a whiteboard that has the name of the movie Spider-Man No Way Home on it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But there's something huge on that whiteboard that I never realized.
Wait, what?
So if you look at the whiteboard on the bottom left corner, it says "No Place Like Home." You know what that's from?
No.
So in Amazing Spider-Man 2, the last line that Andrew Garfield says is "No Place Like Home" right before he fights Rhino.
Does this mean Andrew Garfield's confirmed?
I mean, it could be because in the last scene, he's fighting Rhino. And maybe Rhino's the 6th person in the Sinister Six.
Dude, how did we miss that Easter egg? Ever wondered how Phineas and Ferb's inventions always disappear at the perfect time?
Yeah, it's always right before the mom can see it.
Yeah, and when it disappears, it's usually because Dr. Doofenshmirtz's machine hits it. But what if I told you the boys aren't just getting lucky?
Okay, then what happens then?
So I read this article, and there's a theory that Perry is the real reason why the boys never get caught.
How?
So at the beginning of the episodes, Perry always leaves right after the boys plan out their day, but he's always there to hear what they're gonna do. And when their inventions disappear, it's usually because Perry is pointing Dr. Doofenshmirtz's machine in the right direction to destroy their invention, because Perry knows exactly what would happen to the boys if their mom catches them.
Literally almost every episode, Perry comes in clutch for them. Have you heard of the Shang-Chi theory?
What? No.
This is just a prediction because you and I haven't seen the movie yet, but apparently there's an end credit scene that the crowd went crazy for, and this Hollywood reporter said it was like Avengers Endgame when Captain America picked up Mjolnir.
Dude, everyone's saying the post-credit scene is insane.
So Simu Liu was asked one word to describe the post-credit scene, and he said the word banana. Not bananas, just the word banana.
What is banana supposed to mean?
So this is where the theory comes in. There's a theory that he's talking about Spider-Man being in the post-credit scene.
Wait, what?
So in Spider-Man Far From Home, we see Aunt May throw a banana at Peter Parker. And then in Spider-Man Far From Home, his stealth suit is called the Night Monkey. And we all know that monkeys like to eat bananas. And there's so much hype around Spider-Man right now. For the crowd to go crazy like Avengers Endgame, it has to be something Spider-Man related, something crazy.
Ryan, I think you just cracked the code.
Yeah, maybe. So since there's no Spider-Man No Way Home trailer yet, it would make sense for them to put a post-credit scene involving Spider-Man just to hype up the movie even more.
Dude, I am so hyped for Spider-Man.
Have you heard of the High School Musical theory?
You better not ruin this movie for me.
So we all know High School Musical is about Troy Bolton and Gabriella and how they fall in love. But what if I told you she's actually the villain?
What?
So throughout all the High School Musical movies, there's one person that's always trying to help Troy be more successful and reach all his dreams. Do you know who that is?
Gabriella?
So this is where the theory comes in. There's a theory that Sharpay is actually the hero of the movie and Gabriella is the villain.
Okay, no way.
Yeah, so in High School Musical 2, Gabriella is being really selfish and is mad at Troy. Whereas Sharpay is trying to help Troy set up a dinner with his dream college coach to help him get a scholarship. And Sharpay gets Troy a summer job on the golf course to help him meet people for his future. And it's an easier job than working in the kitchen. And the writers of the movie are trying to make Sharpay look like the villain, but in reality, she's a bold, strong girl that's just trying to reach her dreams and goals.
Wait, now that I think about it, Sharpay was actually just trying to help Troy.
Right, whereas Gabriella's getting mad at Troy for changing, but really Troy was just trying to better his future and he was maturing.
We gotta give Sharpay more credit. What if I told you Kevin from The Office is actually a criminal?
Hey, don't pick on Kevin.
So we all know Kevin's considered the dumb one in The Office, but he's actually the smartest one out of everyone.
I've always believed in Kevin.
So there's a theory that Kevin's a super smart criminal that tricked everyone into thinking that he's super dumb so he could steal money from Dunder Mifflin.
You actually have proof that he stole money?
Yeah, so in one episode, he keeps asking Martin how Martin got arrested, but then Kevin gets super scared because he admits that he does that every day in the office.
I do remember that episode.
And in another episode, Kevin knows where Oscar hides the company money and how to steal it. And how is Kevin able to afford to buy a bar right after he got fired from Dunder Mifflin? And throughout the show, we constantly see him outsmarting everyone for money, like when he's playing Dallas with Andy and Daryl.
I always knew that Kevin was capable of so much more. Have you heard of the Finding Nemo theory?
Ooh, you found another one?
So you know how Dory has short-term memory loss and can't always remember things? But what if I told you she's actually a genius?
Why do you think that?
So throughout the movie, we see Dory and Marlin going through all these different challenges. But for some reason, Dory always gets them out of trouble.
It is kind of weird how she always ends up solving the problem.
Yeah, so one reason why she's a genius is one, she can read English words. And remember how she's able to read the scuba goggles? And it said P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way? And there's no other fish in the movie that could read.
Dude, if Dory couldn't read, they wouldn't have found Nemo.
Yeah, and she's able to speak whale. She's the only fish in the movie that could actually speak whale. And she tells the whale where Nemo is. And the whale actually takes her and Marlin to where Nemo is. Even though she has short-term memory loss, somehow she's always able to remember things when it's important.
Yeah, she remembered the address, and Marlin couldn't even remember the address. Do you know the Coco theory?
No.
So remember when Miguel and Hector are entering the music competition in the Land of the Dead?
Yeah.
When we see all the contestants performing, we see someone that looks really familiar that's from the movie Toy Story.
Wait, who is it?
So there's a theory that the one contestant is Sid, the evil little kid from Toy Story 1.
Wait, what?
Yeah, basically saying that after Toy Story, Sid died and is now living in the Land of the Dead. Because when you look at the contestant's outfit, it's the same exact outfit that Sid would wear. He has the black skull shirt, jeans, and Converse.
Even in Toy Story 3, Sid was wearing that skull shirt when he was the garbage man.
Yeah, and when Toy Story 1 released, Sid was 11 years old, and Coco released 22 years later, showing that he was probably 33 years old when he died, because the skeleton version of him looks around that age.
Have you heard of the Marvel What If theory?
No, not yet.
So the new Marvel show What If shows what happens after Loki and how there's a new multiverse.
Dude, the first episode was so good.
It's crazy how one decision changes everything. Just because Peggy Carter stayed on the first floor of the lab, she ended up becoming the super soldier.
Dude, that was so crazy.
Yeah, so in this new timeline, right, we see Bucky doesn't fall off the train, so he doesn't become the Winter Soldier. Steve Rogers doesn't get the super soldier serum, so he just gets old like a regular person. Howard Stark never dies because the Winter Soldier never killed him. And since Howard Stark never dies, Obadiah Stane never takes over Stark Industries, and that makes Tony Stark have no desire to become Iron Man anymore.
Wait, that one decision changed all that?
There's a theory that Captain Carter is going to be in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness because there are reports that Haley Atwell is going to be coming back as Captain Carter for the movie, and Shuma Garath.
Dude, the future of Marvel is looking so good. Do you know the Outer Banks theory?
No.
So Outer Banks Season 2 is so good, but there's a spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it yet.
Dude, Season 2 was good.
So in this season, everybody's after the cross of Santo Domingo that has a shroud in it, and shroud is just another word for a piece of cloth. But it has healing powers, but it ends up not being in the cross.
Yeah, it was so weird how the cloth wasn't there.
So there's a theory that the reason why the cloth wasn't there is because John B has had it this entire time.
Wait, what?
So at the end of the season, John B's dad says he knows where the shroud is.
Dude, I can't believe he's still alive.
Yeah, but before he died, he gave John B a bandana that John B always wears around his neck, and that bandana is the shroud. Yeah, remember John B touches Sarah with the bandana after she was shot and she comes back to life. And then John B was attacked by an alligator and he wraps the bandana around the wound and he's able to walk and run just fine.
Yeah, remember the first season 2 when he falls off that huge cliff and he's fine?
Dude, he has the shroud.
This theory is gonna blow your mind. Have you heard of the Ratatouille theory?
Which one?
So you know at the end of Ratatouille when the evil critic Anton Ego comes into the restaurant and Remy has to prepare a special dish for him.
Yeah.
And Anton Ego tells the waiter to surprise him with their best dish, but no one knows what to make him. But for some reason, Remy knows what to make him.
Yeah, it's weird how Remy knew how to make him the ratatouille.
So this is where the theory comes in. There's a theory that the reason why Remy knew how to make him the Ratatouille is because Remy used to watch Anton Ego's mom cook it for him.
Wait, what?
So in the beginning of the movie, we see Remy in this old house, and there's an old lady in that house. What if I told you the old lady is actually Anton Ego's mom?
Wait, how do you know that?
When they show the flashbacks of Anton Ego's childhood, you see the exact same house is the same house at the beginning of the movie. The same stove, the same pot, same window, even the front door has the same chair right by it.
Wait, what the heck?
And that's why Remy knew exactly what to make him and how to make the Ratatouille the exact same way his mom used to, because Remy used to watch the mom make it for him.
Dude, that makes the story so much better. Why didn't they make that part of the movie? What if I told you the sinking of the Titanic was predicted 14 years before it actually happened?
You just love exposing the Titanic, don't you?
Yeah, so in 1898, Morgan Robertson wrote a book called The Wreck of the Titan, which is about an unsinkable ship that hit an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean and sank, killing hundreds of people.
Wait, what?
Yeah, in the book it even says that there wasn't enough lifeboats to save everybody, just like the Titanic, because both boats carried around 20 lifeboats. And in the book, the ship is called the Titan, which is just Titanic without the IC at the end.
Gosh, I hate when these books like predict the future.
Ryan, the Titanic sank in April 1912, and in the book, the Titan sank in the same month of April, just 14 years before the Titanic did. And the Titan sank around midnight, just like the Titanic.
It's almost like the book was trying to tell people don't get on the Titanic.
Right? What if I told you Aladdin had the Infinity Gauntlet before Thanos did?
Are you talking about Aladdin, like the Disney character?
Yeah, so in 1994, Disney released an Aladdin TV show that followed the adventures of Aladdin, Jasmine, and Abu. And in one episode, we see them stumble upon what looks like to be the Infinity Gauntlet with all the stones.
It actually has the powers of the Infinity Stones?
Yeah, when we see it being used, it has the same exact powers as the Infinity Gauntlet. We see it change reality just like Thanos did with the Reality Stone. And we also see him shoot a beam out of the gauntlet just like Thanos did with the Mind Stone.
Could you imagine if Aladdin comes back for the What If series and it like created like a branch timeline and it's the multiverse?
Dude, I don't know. Aladdin might have to be an Avenger after this.
Have you ever heard of the Shrek theory about Donkey?
No.
So in Shrek, we see the character Donkey is a donkey who can talk, and he also has a mind of the human.
Bro, I love Donkey.
What if I told you that he was once human?
Wait, how?
So there's a theory that I found on Reddit that Donkey is actually one of the kids from Pinocchio that got turned into a donkey at Pleasure Island.
Wait, that would make sense because Pinocchio's in Shrek.
Yeah, when Donkey's talking to Shrek and Puss in Boots, he talks about how he was bullied and how he was given swirlies and wedgies, meaning that he used to wear clothes.
Yeah, I guess you can't get a wedgie if you're not wearing clothes.
And what's even crazier is that Donkey is the same type of donkey in Pinocchio. There's two types of donkeys that the kids in Pinocchio become, an all brown one and an all gray one. And the all gray one is the same as Donkey from Shrek, showing that Donkey from Shrek is one of the runaway kids from Pleasure Island.
Dude, it all makes sense on why he's a talking donkey.
Have you heard of the Wall-E theory?
No.
Okay, so we all know that Wall-E's about how Earth became too dangerous to live on and all the humans left Earth on the ship called the Axiom.
Right.
So the Axiom was only supposed to be in space for 5 years, but it ended up staying in space for 700 years.
Wait, yeah, how is there enough supplies if they only packed for 5 years?
Yeah, there's no way there was enough food for 700 years. When NASA goes to space for 5 days, they pack enough food for 7 days, just in case. But that's only 2 extra days.
Yeah, there's no way they stored 700 years worth of food if they only planned to be there for 5 years.
Right, so this is where the theory comes in. There's a theory that on the Axiom, they take the dead bodies and they feed it to the other humans on the ship.
Wait, what?
So throughout the movie, they show where they put all the trash and all the waste, but there's no sign of dead bodies. And there's also no place where they store the dead bodies. And the only way they won't run out of food is if they eat each other. And it makes sense because everybody on the Axiom eats the same food.
Wait, yeah, it is kind of weird that they always drink all their foods. They never eat solids.
Yeah, because the only way there's enough food for 700 years is if they take the dead bodies, grind them up, and feed it to the people on the ship through a cup and a straw.
Well, you ruined Wall-E for me.